All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Of course. So this is something that I've been doing for a while. We're doing something different. I'm highlighting nonprofits, and you're the first one that I'm highlighting.
I love it.
So, which is really cool, especially since we've known each other for a long time, right? So, really quickly, I do want to highlight you as well. So, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
Thank you, Oscar, again. You want me to hold it
I
or
can
we're
hold it
good?
for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's no
okay. Thank
biggie.
you so much.
Yeah.
My name is Yuriria Morales Sanchez, and I have to say, my two last names because, as you're familiar, down from Mexico, South or Latin America, we actually
Hmm.
use our two last names. So
Yes.
Morales Sanchez for my dad's and my mom's, and I was born and raised in Cuernavaca, Morelos, in Mexico, close to
Hmm.
Mexico City.
Hmm.
And I arrived to Albuquerque as an international student back in 2006.
2006.
Mm-hmm.
So that, can we do the math?
Absolutely.
15 years ago.
Yes, it's going to be my quinceañera this year.
So are you having a party?
Absolutely. And actually, this is the year that we're going to have the opportunity to apply for my citizenship.
That's a big
So
deal.
that's a huge deal. Absolutely.
It's a big one. So, I mean, you came here as an international student, and I feel Albuquerque specifically is very unique. I don't know if it's unique, it's just my own experience, but a lot of the international students that I know that came here ended up staying here, right? What was your experience as far as coming here and then ending up staying?
That's a great question. Thank you again, Oscar, for giving me the opportunity to talk about my story and of course highlighting the nonprofit organization that
Hmm.
I'm part of. When I came here, came to get my master's degree in public administration,
Hmm.
and I've always I was involved in politics back home in Mexico. So the main idea was to come here and have the experience to live in another country, and why not in the United States, as we all of us know, like
Hmm.
internationally, that the power that the United States has,
Yeah.
and the importance of me going back home and saying that I finished a master's degree from the US.
Hmm.
That I
Yeah.
knew that it was going to be huge to put it in my resume, but I have found so many opportunities, and it's
Okay.
something fantastic. Great people that I could not be able to be here without the help that I have received since day one that
Yeah.
I got here to Albuquerque.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of really good resources here, and I think a lot of people do end up kind of staying here. It's very interesting that you say the U.S. is a place from externally seen as like has some negative views, but to an extent, there's a lot of opportunity here, and being able to come here and get a degree and find opportunity, and I think that's something that's different here than in other places, right? Would you speak to that? That there's just more opportunity to do different things. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. Was it a difficult decision to say, I'm going to stay?
Actually, not. Once I got here and I started getting involved with the community and how fantastic the community here in Albuquerque,
Hmm.
specifically, they are, and all the help, then I knew that I wanted to say that Albuquerque is home for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was so interesting. A really quick story that me going back home after I actually applied to so many visas,
Hmm.
and that I don't even remember anymore how many. And that's a different story,
Sure.
like how
Yeah.
everything that as an international student I have to go through in order for me that I wanted to stay here and went back home. But I had a homesick, actually, like like that
Mm-hmm.
cultural shock in my own country
Like
in
a
Mexico.
reverse culture shock.
Absolutely, and it was so interesting for me, and it was intense. Just feeling that way, feeling that I really wanted to come back,
Yeah.
and then as soon as I finished my master's degree, I had to actually. I was in Houston just for a few months, not
Hmm.
even 6 months,
Hmm.
trying to actually get another master's degree, but that was the only way for me that I actually was going to be able to stay as an international student.
Yeah.
And but I was exhausted. it is at the end of the day, English is going to be always my second language,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's always going to be difficult and getting an education in another language that is not
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
the one that you grew up, or the one that you're constantly talking to with your family. All of my family is back home in Mexico.
So that's, I guess that makes a difference, right? That have you noticed? I noticed that over time, not just myself, but family and other people that have been here for long enough, the you start forgetting some words. I remember correcting somebody saying, like, I swear they knew more Spanish than I did, and they couldn't remember the word for carpet. And I was like, alfombra. And they're like, they just couldn't remember it. But like, again, like me, Spanish is my first language, English is my second, but there's certain things that just start to fade.
Absolutely,
Right.
or just combine the combination of the words just really quick, and having
Like
just
Spanglish.
recently
Mm-hmm.
with my boyfriend. He's from here. He understands perfectly English, Spanish, excuse me,
Oh,
and
okay.
but so we were watching a game, and then I said, I want to see the repetition. And we're talking about, I mean, thinking, in Spanish, it's la repetición
Yeah.
of the play. And he's like, do you mean the replay? I was like, yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what I meant.
So
Yeah.
that is constantly something that you have, and switching back and forth. And, like I said, my family, my mom, my sisters, they're all back home in Mexico. So
Yeah.
that is my best friend is from Venezuela. So that's a constant, I do not, like, I speak both languages every day in a regular basis.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's good that you have the opportunity to do that, right? And there's definitely moments where that becomes more difficult and things starts to slip. I can relate to the learning a degree, having a degree in a third language, because mine was in Portuguese, so that was a whole different thing, right? But the difficulty of it is big, right? I'm sure it prepared you for so much more. Do you feel like much more better equipped than some people to do your job?
Oh my God, great question.
Humility, of course. Be humble.
Yeah, right? No. No, actually, so now having the opportunity to be in this wonderful organization, we'll be talking about it, Global Ties ABQ.
Mm-hmm.
So I work at the Hispano Chamber of Commerce for a long time, and I have a lot, that they actually, to thank them, because talking about the visas, they were the main reason why I was able to stay. And I applied for a work visa, which is H-1B. I applied for the TN2, which is a NAFTA one for Mexicans. And I mean, I can go on and on with different kind of visas, and they helped me a lot. But then I just was looking for a different opportunity, and Global Ties ABQ gave me that opportunity. Yeah. And so when you're talking about, like, the question that you asked is like, no, I mean, constantly I'm learning. Now having the opportunity to be the executive director of this organization, so many things that I'm not familiar with. And at the end of the day, we go back to the language. It's totally different when you're looking into something, legal, or like, when it comes to everything that has to do with taxes, or that is totally different. So I'm learning now, every day I'm learning something different, that it's always going to be totally different when it comes to the culture with my own country. Yeah.
Well, that's good, right? You always want to be in this place that's stimulating. And this seems like an organization that allows you, again, back to it, plenty of opportunity. So as far as the organization goes, what is the organization? Because it's something that I know from speaking to you has been around for a while, but you're going through some changes, right? So tell me the history and maybe what you're hoping to do.
So Global Ties ABQ is actually the official name, or per se the nonprofit organization, like legal name, is the Albuquerque Council for International Visitors. Has been in the city since 1963. Okay. It's been a long time. It started with an amazing group of people as volunteers, and it kept like that. So the board members were the ones that were running the organization. So we have been hosting emerging leaders from around the world through the U.S. State Department International Visitor Leadership Program.
Okay.
And so, just really quick of the history of the reason why actually this program. So after World War II ended, the U.S. State Department International Visitor Leadership Program. So they created this program because we needed to have better relationships with the world. So the U.S. embassies are the one actually they're looking for emerging leaders and who is making a difference in specific topics. So then they send them to the U.S. So you cannot apply to come in that program. You have to be selected. So us with Albuquerque, our name was changed actually by the first executive director of the organization, Adele Lees, and she's amazing. And she had to actually leave. She's now in Amsterdam. So she changed the name to Global Ties ABQ Albuquerque, right? Because Global Ties US is our headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Gotcha.
So that's why she wanted to have that uniform name.
Yeah.
And when it comes to what is it that we're trying to accomplish, to be out there, I know that they have done a remarkable job. In 2019, they were able, and I say they because I didn't join the organization until last year in January, so before the pandemic started.
Right.
But they have done a remarkable job, and they brought 410 international emerging leaders to the city of Albuquerque.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, and so the idea is keep growing. And at the end of the day, we are showcasing who we are as a city, everything that we have to offer, and just to show that beauty of everything that we have here in Albuquerque and all the resources that we have, such as, you name it, right? Of course, we can never forget our beautiful weather. Then all the international events that we have, the technology, now having, of course, Netflix and having all these, the movie industry. I can go on and on and on of the amazing things that we have in the city. And, our job, a lot of the times we hear just the negative side of Albuquerque. That's, no, let's embrace what we have. Let's just focus in the positive things that the Albuquerque can, has to offer. And that's our goal, and that's our job. Why not, instead of ranking 410 international emerging leaders, let's double the number. But with that, we need the community to be involved with us. We need the community to know more about what we're doing as an organization, and just invite them to be part of the dream that we're building here.
Of course, that makes a lot of sense. So, what I'm hearing is that I guess I have a couple of questions when it comes to everything you just said, because this sounds like a very good program that benefits the city a lot, which is very good. So because we're bringing in people and creating a positive kind of brand and visibility to the city. These people can go back home and speak well of it, and literally you're creating these ties and these connections and this network. What's the long-term hope? Are you hoping that these people come back and live here like as yourself, maybe stay? Or is the idea that we're just potentially just kind of attracting more business and more kind of industry here? What's the end goal?
All of the above. Everything what you just said.
Okay.
It's having the opportunity. So when we bring these emerging leaders, it's like we are actually bidding with against per se, other cities. So there are 83 different global ties around the U.S.
Wow. Okay.
So everybody wants to have those emerging leaders in their cities, correct? So we actually, my program manager, she's the one that works on the proposals, and we have to be, sending a great proposal where we're going to be talking about Albuquerque and all the amazing things and the resources. Just really quick example. So if we, here within 19 pueblos and the 21 tribes that we have, so that's a great resource that we have here in the city. The heritage or history. So it has to be a topic, for example, related to Native Americans, how the history and here in Albuquerque, right? So then we are going to have people from, I'm just going to throw, from anywhere around the world that they want to learn about how they have been, the development of
Yeah. Yeah.
their tribes, for example, the pueblos. So then we are the ones that write a good proposal. We send it back to what is called the national program agencies. So they review all of these and then said, okay, we want Albuquerque, to be able to host this group of and a people, for example. But then they send it back to the U.S. State Department, so the U.S. State Department has to approve it. So once all of that, it's an amazing process.
Yeah.
And so, but we're having the opportunity to do that. So once the U.S. State Department says, yes, absolutely, I think Albuquerque is the best destination for these people, so then we receive them here, meaning the quality of people. So they are decision makers when exactly what you said. They go back to their countries and they talk the amazing things about Albuquerque and how different we are of other cities and other states.
Yeah.
And that right there is the opportunity. So, but yes, we bring the quality, but also we're talking about the direct economic impact that these people are bringing. Why? Because at least they stay 4 to 5 nights in the city. So
it's a short period of time.
It is. And so they meet with emerging or leaders in the community.
Okay.
Depends of the topic that they're specifically looking.
Yeah.
And so they have their meetings, but they stay to sightsee. So they go to the Indian Public Cultural Center. They go to the National Hispanic. They go to the Tram. They go to Santa Fe. So they go to the pueblos.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity for us to be just, to keep showing the beauty. And going back to your question, they go back to their country, but with all the people that they were able to meet and of course the meetings that we actually arrange for them, then it's always an opportunity for something that might happen in the future.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they go back to their country if they're thinking of a company that might be looking on something that we have here in the city. So right there, exactly what you said, those like the ties, at the end, Global Ties ABQ, is like us being able to show everything and them deciding that there's an opportunity to showcase like a business. You never know. It could be education. It could be bringing, doing a startup here, coming back actually, seeing the benefits of everything that we have. And they, like you said, like I had the opportunity to stay. So, and this is my 15th year and I love this city. And I gotta say, I don't think I'm moving anytime soon. So there's a lot of work that still we have to do. And Albuquerque deserves that. Albuquerque has a lot of potential, and that is part of what we're doing in here.
That's very good, and that's amazing that you're staying to make that difference, right? I hear a lot of people say that about this city, but then leave. And so I think it's important. I think Albuquerque does deserve good things. I think the people of the city do deserve good things. And we're starting to see some change over time. How is Albuquerque for you, I guess, as a city for New Mexico, a different place since you first came here in 2006? I mean, I can name a ton of different ways it's different.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, coming as an international student and you're really familiar just with all the friends that we have from around the world, it is a little bit difficult to get engaged as much with the community because, I mean, you have to look into who also came as an international student because we share something, we have something in common at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so it has changed completely. It wasn't until I joined the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce when I started the interaction of with the community and getting to know more people. So it took me a long time. And the other thing is, as as an international student, and like that you have to maintain your GPA because of the scholarship that you have, and going back to English as a second language, it's like you have to study harder than probably. It's already difficult when you're getting an education in your own language. So now
Yeah.
thinking in
You
a
have to work harder.
different way.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. So most of my time, I didn't have another option but just keep studying, and until I had the opportunity to start working in an organization such as the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And so it has changed a lot. So it was a different perspective from
Sure.
being an international student, just wanting to go around. The amazing thing about the International Balloon Fiesta, that we get all of us international students to, to have a gathering and learning from different cultures. So you focus kind of on that, and then until you start out there in the community, then it's a huge difference. So it has changed a lot.
Yeah.
It has definitely changed a lot, and I love it. I love this city, and I cannot, be like, I can be talking every day that it deserves more good things about, because we have it, instead of constantly just talking about the negative side. So we really deserve way more of everything that is happening, because there are a lot of great things happening in the city.
There are. You're right. A lot of people do focus on the negative, and it kind of bothers me. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, why are you here? But that's not the right perspective to have, because you're right. All this stuff already exists. We just need to find it and highlight it and bring it to the surface, right? And show it off, honestly. And a couple, final questions, I guess, more long term. Thinking for yourself and for the organization. We'll start with the organization. What do you foresee for the organization long term? What's your long term goal?
The long term goal will be Global Ties ABQ be it for the city of Albuquerque, having anybody that will be thinking of international, anything, education, business, that it will be thinking about Global Ties ABQ. But, and really important, is not just us, it will be the partnership. And us building that organization with everybody will come together. And because at the end of the day, there are a lot of wonderful organizations such as sister cities, such as the UN Albuquerque chapters, World Affairs Council of Albuquerque, and Global 101, 121. I can name so many. But then why not coming together and actually all of us work in one purpose?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not that I want to be. We have a great support from our mayor right now. But the One Albuquerque, that's exactly the same thing. One organization where we can be all of us in the same place, per se, in the same umbrella, and coming or having a spot where everybody will come when they have the mayor or other delegations or other companies. They are receiving the international delegations. They can think of, let's go to Global Ties ABQ. So that's going to be the spot. But that's the only way that we're going to be able to reach this goal, is by working together with other organizations. The work is out there. Like, for example, Sister Cities is actually an older organization than us. And it's like, what is it that we can do together to collaborate so we can make that happen? So that will be the long-term goal, where just having these organizations established. But once again, for that, we do need those partners, but we also need the companies, other corporations, to be able to come to us and say, how can I support you? We need that, because right now it's just, most of the operations that we have comes from, or funds come from the U.S. State Department. And it's fantastic, but we can be doing even more. We have a lot of great companies in here, corporates, that they just, let's talk and see how collaborating, partnering, we can bring way more emerging leaders.
Absolutely. That makes so much sense. And as far as that same question, like for you, on a personal level, and, since we're friends, what do you hope for yourself long term?
Wow, Oscar.
That's a big question?
It is.
Okay.
I was having a conversation actually last week about, financials, and of course, we don't get any younger. We get
Yeah.
older every day. So you start
Yep.
thinking, you need to start thinking in even exactly what you were asking, in a long-term retirement. And that's, I think, us when, and you can relate to these because you have traveled the world and you have studied in different countries.
Yeah.
It's like you get in that mindset where you have to plan, because if plan A doesn't happen, like back in 2011, for example, I didn't get my work visa, my H-1B, and I had to leave the country. So you have to have plan B for that, right? So you get in that mindset. So in a long term, for me, it's like that's kind of like one of my dreams. Just like I just see the Albuquerque deserves that different perspective from people from here and from outside, from the world. And it just, I just keep thinking, you got me definitely off guard on that question. So going back to of the meeting that I had last week about talking about retirement and financials and things like that, it's kind of like I work for a purpose. I think more about the legacy, because we all know if something happens to you, I mean, something that we know for certain that everybody's going to die. I'm sorry to it's a reality.
No,
right?
It's don't be sorry. It's going to happen.
So if we're looking into that, what is it? What is my legacy?
What's important?
I want people to talk about Yuriria Morales.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like to be looking into, I want to be making this, I have to be making this much money. I don't see it like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, with the hard work that we do, absolutely it is welcome, right? Because it's your hard work that is going to be compensating.
Yeah.
But I think backwards. I think in a way, like I'd rather work for a purpose, for a goal that I know is going to make a difference in somebody's life, or somebody's, or something like it would change here in the city. So that's how I have received so much help from so many people that that's the way that I will give back. Yeah. So that's kind of like the way of who I am, or the way that I think, that I work for a purpose.
Yeah.
Something that is going to change somebody's life or mine, why not? And then we go from there.
That's fair.
So if other opportunities, don't get me wrong, I would love to continue in this same field, international relations, international affairs, why not if I ever have an opportunity to move to another country, or once I can, have the blessing to become a citizen of this wonderful country, that I can represent this country in another, or my own country, of course, in Mexico, from Mexico, in a different part of the world. So that would be something.
That's a bit, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to save the world, huh?
Yes, I would love to.
That's good. Any advice for anybody, any young people maybe listening to this that went through a similar experience as you did?
Risk it. Just do it.
Okay.
I'm sure that you've heard so many times the same thing, but that's the only way. I mean, just risk it. Grab your luggage. Definitely travel the world.
Yeah.
I mean, experience going backpacking and studying another country, because definitely that is the best way, I believe, that you're going to be learning the reality of the world, because having, the opportunity once again of living here in this amazing country, the U.S., is I see a lot of difference, when it comes to going back home. So many, in the same thing, going to different countries. And I gotta say something, here in the U.S., and I want to say we're spoiled.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And it's not until you really have the experience and being in a different culture, in a different environment, when sometimes you don't even have nothing to eat. I mean, it was me at some point eating crackers from the stop at UNM, and even adding a little bit of ketchup because I needed to have, some other flavor. So that part just makes you humble and
Mm-hmm.
learning and understanding the value of just life.
Yeah.
And don't forget to give back. Do not forget to
Mm-hmm.
give back.
Yeah.
That just of
Yeah.
people that they are looking at you is just be a good people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Oscar.
Of course. Thank you guys for listening. If you're watching, thank you so much. We love you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.